Hello, Helldivers! Have you ever thought to yourself, damn, I really wish there was a more dangerous, ineffective, and downright idiotic way to kill my enemies with barely any upsides other than looking cool and feeling like a bloodstained war machine as you do so? If yes, follow my teachings to become a heavenly demon unleashed upon the battlefield. I didn't want to make this video so soon to hone and polish my anti-alien martial arts to perfection, leaving you speechless with my unmatched movement.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no.
But due to current events, I feel like I need to do it right now, leaving you mildly amused at best. Let's cut the yap and get to the juice. What do you need? You need a Warbond Urban Legends. Here we purchase a spear, the worst stratagem in the game, and the ability to kick. Also we go to the shop and buy an armor set with peak physique perk, and a matching helmet with a cape to look cool. Why do we need peak physique? It can help us with controlling machine guns, which is the reason why some people use it, but we barely care about this. The juice is the 100% damage bonus to your melee attacks. What a coincidence that kick emote deals melee damage. Why do we care? You see, emotes can be cancelled to make sure that you can run away quick after emoting instead of standing in place like an idiot as 500 kilograms of democracy are falling on top of your skull. How do you cancel? Any direction key and shift press together. What is the speed limit to that? Basically none. That leads us to the first form of anti-alien martial arts. Machine gun kicks. We select the kick and rebind the emote button to the side button of our computer mouse. If you don't have those, or if you're a console player, then I don't know, you're on your own, figure something out. Then we press the emote button on our mouse and use a combination of any movement key and shift a couple of milliseconds later. It's not that hard to do that, but you can be tempted to do the cycle too fast and your hands will try to synchronize inputs, pressing all three keys at the same time, both of which will cancel animations before the damage frame arrives, so be aware of these mistakes. After some experimentations, I found that a metronome set to 135 BPM or a song with a matching tempo works the best to keep you at the right pace. You emote on the beat and cancel off beat. Then we pick a spear as the secondary weapon. Spear can poke. That's it. It also stuns some enemies. Other enemies don't give a shit. Yeah. But we now possess the first form of AAMA. Now you can cover the holes in your spear attack pattern with a swift kick and maybe they can even synergize. Anti-alien martial arts. Form second. Landslide. If you thrust with a spear and instead of waiting for it to return back to you use a kick emote, your forward momentum will be preserved, unleashing a kick as you awkwardly slide ahead, and it can be chained, turning you into a freight train of kicks and pokes. It's a bit faster than just walking and slower than just running, but it also has a funny little quirk of making you preserve a smidge of stamina as the kick animation plays, because it stops the consumption mid-cycle for some reason. It will still go down due to the spear being a stamina-hungry bastard, but it's nice to have some cash back. These two techniques are two cornerstones of AAMA, and your input accuracy and positioning skills are the only limit to how cool they can work together. Practice kicking on your destroyer, this container is my second favorite target, and practice spear control in missions, as your teammates get progressively more and more frustrated with you, diving into illuminate mosh pits and dying like an idiot instead of doing something useful. But every martial art needs defensive moves as well as attacking ones. AAMA practitioners rely on our quick feet and this piece of absolute garbage right here. Behold, the worst stratagem in the game, directional shield. It looks cool and awesome and I bought this Warbond because of it, which taught me a good life lesson. Read the fine print. It works only when your secondary weapon is equipped, and only when you are aiming your secondary weapon, which renders it absolutely useless for any sane person, and I don't even have to explain why. Even when it works, it makes your screen look like you are aiming through a glass full of piss. It also doesn't help with close range combat, because enemies walk right through it, and also, it occupies a backpack slot. For what reason? Look at the deactivated state of this shield. It's a metal frisbee. You know what else looks like that? A buckler shield. You know how the buckler shield was worn by malnourished medieval infantry? On their waists or forearm. This right here is a 6 feet tall, genetically modified, roided out space super soldier that can regenerate tissues faster than they burn in the lake of napalm by ingesting copious amounts of drugs into their body. Do you really think it is necessary to wear this goddamn salad plate on your back, leaving you with no ability to wear a bigger shield generator, additional ammunition, or a motherfucking jetpack? Ballistic shield, for example, is like a 30-kilogram sheet of mangaloy that still works while on your back. Arrowhead Studios, I beg of you, please buff it just a bit, just a smidge. If it's not an option, maybe make it do something cool, like redirecting projectiles away from the player, or something like that. It will still be as useless as you intended, but it will look cooler at least. So why do we use it? First, safety on call. It activates almost instantly, providing you cover when you need it, like giving you a second to use a stim under constant fire or make it easier to approach overseers. Second, it recharges passively while it's not needed. Third, it's tanky, like it can survive one shot from the fish. If you fought in the presence of the fish, you know what one shot from the fish can do. Fourth, it's wide, making it possible to cover fellow Helldivers and Earth Defense Force during action, which is not very useful, and most of your teammates will awkwardly step aside as you try to cover them, because aiming through a glass full of piss is a bit distracting. Fifth, development of Spidey sense. As you use it more and more, you will notice that right-click turns into a block button for you. You start pressing it on sound cues from enemies before you even consciously register their presence. Like here, I heard a shot sound from the fish, looked away, weapon swapped, and unfolded the directional shield before I could even formulate a thought, parrying it and saving myself from certain death. Also, sometimes it can parry melee attacks, I believe? But most of those wouldn't deal you damage anyway, so yeah. That was the third form of anti-alien martial arts, Immovable object. But every martial art needs a stance and footwork to form the basis of it, giving you control over the domain of your effective range, knowing how, where, and when to strike. It's mostly experience. I haven't figured it out completely yet, but I have some tips. First of all, your stance. Look at yourself and not your opponent. You must not get tunnel vision on your target. See all enemies and predict their future movements. Lower your camera a bit when you fight, because if you aim it like usual, the spear will hit the torso instead of the head, and your kick will hit the legs instead of the torso or the head. I don't know if there is a real difference in damage, but it feels cooler to explode heads with your attacks, right? Then the footwork. Believe it or not, you can increase your survivability by 90% while using my secret movement technique. What can it be? Will it require a sequence of frame-perfect inputs? Do you need to predict future by hacking into the matrix? It's swaying from side to side. No, like literally. Just drag your mouse side to side as you move. Become a sine wave. That's it. The only asterisk here is that you should position yourself so that shooting enemies are right behind you or directly in front of you, but be careful with those that are ahead and way too close. Also make sure that the amplitude of your movements is not too small. Sway it like you mean it, or your flesh will be scattered across the sidewalk. Anti-alien martial arts. Footwork technique. The Hellstrider. Now a rapid-fire round of tips that represent my condensed combat experience. Spear has a longer range than a kick. Be aware of that. Spear cannot attack enemies that are in your face, because hitbox is stupid, and the kick has issues with that too. There's a certain script that makes sure that the leg doesn't phase through the objects completely, making this weird roundabout magnetizing to the closest surface. It kinda works on enemies too, but not really. TLDR, it works funny at point blank, so refrain from 1-inch kicks if possible. Kick can be controlled during its execution by looking into different direction, which can also be used for mitigation of the roundabout magnetizing phenomenon. Try to cancel your animation not only by using W plus shift, but AD and S plus shift. I did this mistake a lot in the beginning due to the force of habit, and it looks funny. But left-right good night is cool as fuck and makes it easier to maneuver around the crowd. Be careful with stunning overseers and rocket launcher dudes, especially mid-animation. Because if you embarrass them too hard with your superior hand-to-hand combat, they will get mad and use the forbidden technique of AMA called fucking telekinesis. They will look all sluggish and vulnerable to fool their opponents while using their evil alien chi energy to manifest an attack infused with the hitbox and damage of a normal strike, smashing your skull Elden Ring style. When you will fight your way through 1,000 battles, you will start feeling the disturbance in the spiritual energy around you, predicting that the overseer that you are picking apart right now might use his foul magic against you. And when you do, you make a couple of steps away and introduce his kung fu to your gunfu. Speaking of gunfu, you can use AAMA with your gun instead of the spear, replacing the stick that zaps with a stick that goes boom, because developers have kindly introduced the F button for melee attacks with a gun in hand, which can also be rebinded or used as it is if you're an ultra kill player. Okay, sudden intervention by Quintessential from the future. This part of the video was just an excuse to make an Indiana Jones joke, but after some testing, a divine revelation came to me. The F key attack has faster animation than a spear, making it more efficient against the crowd of small guys that can't shoot or do the swipe. Also, it introduces one more move to an already complex scheme, point-blank shotgunning, evolving this playstyle from keep the rhythm and don't fuck up into a frame-perfect acrobatic shit show Mortal Kombat Tekken. I don't have good footage of it because it will take a long time to master, but when I do, this is going to be sick. Anti-alien martial arts, form number 4. Stock is around. We would be all done with the basics of AAMA for now, but I have a secret technique that I kept in secretive secrets to pass down to my most loyal disciples who watch the video till the end. Unfortunately, it's defensive. Or maybe fortunately.
It's a matter of perspective, really.
You see, stims are broken, in a sense that their use sometimes breaks animations and mechanics completely, because most of them are tied to the state in which your hands are at the moment, and stim use allows you to alter this state almost instantly, almost always. My secret technique relies on that. Equip directional shield unfolded once. Get into any emplacement, use a stim, and hold right click. Voila! You are now using the shield in it. It also zooms in slightly more during aiming in a machine gun emplacement, because the game thinks that you have a spear in hand. And yes, usually you cannot use the shield at all while on one. That works with machine gun emplacement, anti-tank emplacement. Do remember that it can tank one shot from the fish. On the machine gun mount of the car and mech suits, although only when you are firing from the onboard machine gun, or if you are holding down right click after you ran out of ammo in your right hand, but it can be negated by spamming right click like an idiot. Also, after dismounting, your spear will be all fucked up, and if you try to attack, you will thrust with your ass, which unfortunately does no damage. I tried really hard. Imagine being a Voltless, strolling through the city, and then a wild Helldiver appears and makes a hole in your abdomen with his ass. Much to my dismay, the hitbox of the attack is still in front of the player, but it is located somewhere in the forehead, making you headbutt enemies, while also passing 500 kilovolts of electric current through their body. It is fixed by weapon swap, by the way. Anti-alien martial arts. Secret technique. Malevolent glitches. These are all discoveries that I made on my immortality cultivation path. If you are a fellow martial artist that turns their body into a weapon like me, share your moves and techniques in the comments. If you possess a frail and weak body that can only pull the trigger, practice hard and refine your muscles and tendons until they are harder than bronze. See you in the next video. Bye bye.
I had once screamed. Gradually, I lost my voice. I had once cried. Gradually, I lost my tears. I had once grieved. Gradually, I became able to withstand everything. I had once rejoiced. Gradually, I became unmoved by the world. And now, all I have left is an expressionless face. My gaze is as tough as a monolith. Only perseverance remains in my heart. This is my own, an insignificant character.
Quintessentials.
Perseverance.